A very important conversation with Dr. K Veeramani ji, and I am privileged to have interviewed him earlier also. He is the living encyclopedia of the Dravidian movement. If we have to know anything about Periyar, his movement, the Dravidian identity, he is the person who can give us details of everything. And these movements and these stories of the Dravidian identity and ultimate success need to be told outside Tamil Nadu also. I feel it very strongly that the Dravidian movement must go now international.
Yeah.
And so welcome to you, sir.
Yes.
And congratulations for getting this 2019 Humanist Lifetime Achievement Award in the United States. This is a great achievement of taking Periyar to America. I would like to hear from you why we need humanism today and how is Periyar relevant to humanist movement world?
Okay. See, it is really, as you very rightly said, it is high time that Periyar must be globalized. Ambedkar, since he has returned in English, almost the English audience, which happens to be the Western audience as well as those educated, he could easily reach. But so far as the southern part of India is concerned, Periyar took the responsibility.
Yes.
Even in 1929 onwards, when he started this movement, and I am surprised, recently I am writing a book about the caption, Periyar and Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Tandai Periyar and Baba Saheb Ambedkar are both sides of the same coin.
Yes, that's true.
See, if you just put one quotation
Yes.
and underneath, drop that Periyar and put Ambedkar, it will be the same.
Yes, that's true.
So also they thought alike and act alike, except one principle of at a particular point of time, Baba Saheb accepted political office.
Yes.
But whereas Periyar was very stubborn,
Yes.
and he wants to be away from the legislature, away from the parliament. But at the same time, he was not away from the political movement, but at the same time he was able to shape the movement, and he was the creator of the public opinion.
That's true.
So, as the adage goes, if public opinion marches forward, law will come limping behind.
That is true.
And the unique aspect of Periyar and its movement is, without going and sitting on the saddle of power, we are able to
Influence.
decide what all the work that should be extracted, whatever may be the complexion of the government in Tamil Nadu or the southern area. So the impact has gone. And Periyar's movement, this high time, you have very pinpointed and hit the nail on the head, is relevant to the whole of India, not only the whole of India, the whole of the world. Recently, thank you very much for your compliment, that honor, first time they are conferring to a person from India, from Tamil Nadu, from anywhere. But more than that, I don't consider that honor is a personal honor to me. It's an honor done to Periyar and his movement.
That's
Since Periyar is not alive, they want to catch hold of somebody who could, I got it, that's all. I was caught. That was the, and so I dedicated really, because of Periyar only, I was identified. My identity, Periyar minus Veeramani is equal to nothing. This is how my equation is there. So automatically, that is a revolution, and the relevance, they want Periyar also in the United States and other parts of the world. Because we are surprised when we had been there, our friends, our Ambedkarites, Periyarites and all of them, they are warning. There are certain factors now, especially after fundamentalism has grown here, and spread its wings. Now they are able to export it to the new world also. So most of the immigrants, America is a nation of immigrants. And when they have gone there, and most of them, they occupy the important post also.
Yes, very high.
Now slowly they are grabbing. They have come to that extent of even contesting for the presidential election,
yes,
this kind of saffronized people. That to that extent they have developed their influence. Same time, very slowly, there is a group which wants to grab not only power but also society. They want to create Hindutva,
yes,
and all this retrograde philosophy of discrimination, segregation,
yes,
in the form of that. The Americans and other people, they don't know what is caste, what is untouchability.
yes,
When we explain, it is very difficult for them to comprehend,
yes,
because of course there was apartheid, there was a black-white problem,
yeah,
and all these things, slavery and everything. But even then,
yeah, there was
they are on the upper hand.
yes,
And they didn't allow him to sit by his side. The white man never allowed the black man to sit by his side. And the slavery, but at the same time, he allowed him to go to his separate school.
yeah,
Separate, but at least when they are separate, they allowed him. Whereas the Manu is quite, as Periyar and Ambedkar was very pointed out, nowhere in the world you could see such a worst lawgiver, that even not only everybody, all religion, this and that, anywhere, they never stop people get educated.
yes,
But whereas the people were discriminated, not only they discriminated, education was the main thing to get our knowledge to be sharpened.
So the humanists have now
Yeah.
Periyar
And now they want to revive the caste system there
in the United States.
in the United States. And our people, our Periyarists and Ambedkarites joined together.
Yes.
They created all the people. We appreciate and applaud their work. They named it as Equality Lab. So out of that Equality Lab, they have brought out a study of caste.
Yes.
How the caste discrimination. They filed certain cases also in California.
Yes.
Even the classroom and all these things, they were discriminated. Then this trip, I addressed a conference at Washington. Periyar International, which is going to celebrate its Silver Jubilee in this month, 13th of this month. 25 years work.
Oh.
And they work, they have sown the seeds, now they are reaping it very good. They had a very good harvest also. So, combined with that, the Humanist American Humanist Association is 8 years, more than 80 years old. They have got a very biggest organization. So both of them combined together.
Okay.
So it is a very good collaboration, and it worked very well. Instead of talking about the Indians only,
yes,
immigrants only, they themselves must know what is going, because that is going to affect.
Yes, that's true.
Even if it's a bird flu or some other kind of disease, once it started from one country, it is being gradually spreads to other countries also.
That is very
The same also, these germs of casteism and fundamentalism and all these things, this goes everywhere. So I impress upon them, no, it is high time that you must be very careful. So what is the remedy? What are the medicines to kill these germs? Only two medicines, Periyar and Ambedkar. That is the social wrongs must be put an end to. Education should, according to them, education should be the instrument of social change. That is why we are asking people to get educated.
Yes.
This movement here for and university. And another thing is, Equality, anything that bars equality should be put an end to completely. It must be annihilated, destroyed and all this.
Yeah, I was coming to your America visit, and I was just thinking that why Periyar is more relevant in United States.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say, when I look at that big statue of Periyar, it's very strong, and
Yeah.
where the black is, beautiful and powerful.
Yeah.
I think this symbolism is not used by anyone.
Yeah.
And perhaps it is time to go to the African American people.
Yes.
And tell them about Periyar's thing. So have
Yeah.
you ever have thought about this?
Yes.
That Periyar's work and Periyar, this symbolism, this
Yeah.
important symbolism that black is beautiful.
Yes, they are able to understand and say,
Because now they are
you see,
reading
so
Ambedkar,
far,
but I think they should read also
they
Periyar.
reacted through the emails.
Okay.
After the conference was over. They patiently heard throughout, because the proceedings were in English.
Yes.
That is one thing, because we want to impress upon them.
Yes, yes.
So some of the Americans, some of the humans people themselves, for the first time we are taken aback. And what is the gruesome and all these things? See, I have narrated one incident. One of the delegates who came from Ohio, all along to Washington, all over the state they gathered, but it's an international conference from Malaysia, from Europe, from other people. When he was about to start, the janitor, who happens to be an African American, that guy was asking in a very loud voice, "Oh, you guys, you are so much, you are assembled from India and other people. I am astonished. Here and there, when I was passing through that, I heard some of the speeches made by your leaders. I was horrified. About the caste system, so far I never understood what is going on there. Thank God I was not born in India." That was his reaction. The janitor.
That's a good thing, but I think
It has percolated in his mind. So the message, or the very purpose of the conference,
was
completely we are able to achieve.
that is
So also everywhere. Yeah, and another thing is, even two things. One is by birth, self-respect movement was started. Discrimination by birth should go, equality. And equal opportunities, and next to equality, empowerment. That is social justice, reservation and all these things.
Yes.
One thing very important is, when the question of empowerment and equality questions, Periyar's ideology and Baba Saheb Ambedkar's ideology of equality of women goes a long way. Even in United States, still it is a male-dominated society.
Yes, that's correct.
For all this appearance, they say that all men are created equal, this and that. The very subject I objected. We don't believe in creation. All men are born equal, you say. I accept it. All men are equal because they never, it is in long usage in Constitution itself. So they don't attach any special importance. When I pointed out, no, even as a rationalist we are used to use this usage. Now only we are able to find it, what is the connotation there.
Yes, this terminology is important.
Everywhere, without attaching, without applying their minds, all men are created equal, all men are created equal. That is creation. Who created?
Yes.
Why he created? How he created? All these questions are there. Yeah. So I put, so kindly change that one.
Yeah.
All men are born equal, you say.
That is the very important thing.
All,
I think these small things which Periyar actually used, every term, that don't use unfortunate, fortunate, Atma, Paramatma. These are the things which should go across India also in the northern belt. in the Hindi heartland.
For your kind information, sorry for interruption. Long time back in our rationalist organization, we constituted a committee in Tamil language. What are the usages that are against rationalism and reason has come to stay in usage.
Okay.
In Tamil, they used to say, Adishtavasama, that fortunately.
Yes.
And it is more, fortunately also we cannot explain it perfectly,
Yes.
but in Tamil it is the Sanskrit version. Adishtam, Duradishtam, unfortunately. See, Adishtam means, I explained in many meetings. Durishtam means parvai, that is sight.
Drishti, yes.
That we are able to see in Drishti, Durishtam, that is in Sanskrit. And if you put a then is anti.
Yes.
Thesis, artist, like that.
Yes.
So Adishtam, Durishtam, parvai. Adishtam, negative.
Negative.
Blindness, that blindness. So, I want, Adishtasali means, I want a blind man. Why you are using your sight at the cost of all this? When we pointed out, then only we realized. And even in our conversation in Tamil, some people, most of the people, not very some people, Nalla Velaya, நான் தப்பிச்சேன் அப்படிங்கிறது. See, that means fortunately all these things.
But I think this should come in the English also, the term that you have this.
See, so many things. Even I used to tell our children and students, don't say goodbye. Do you know the meaning of goodbye, I said.
See you.
No, we don't know. Even some of our friends say, God be with you.
Okay.
That is, you don't know. At least I am asking one more, I am able to educate one more person.
I didn't know.
See, the full contraction of the word there. If you say goodbye, bye-bye, that is very different.
Okay.
If you say full word goodbye, you say God be with you.
Oh.
So far as we are concerned, if God be with us, we will have to be very afraid of Him.
God can't be with us.
Because we are,
It will be afraid.
God himself is no security at all.
Yes.
So if He joins with us, what will happen to us? That is the question.
Yeah, sir, I come to the God's thing. Now Dr. Jayalalitha is no more, Karunanidhi is gone. The two stalwarts, whatever they were, the two stalwarts of the Dravidian movement. Now this is a very, very crucial period because the Hindutva forces,
Yes.
all the Brahminical
Yes,
forces have
yes.
an eye here. And they have a lot of Tamil support also, a number of those dominant groups. How do Periyarists and Tamil Nadu, like what are the fears that you feel now in the coming days?
They are targeting, their next target is only two. In the inner circle of the RSS, they have decided and we got the message. One is Tamil Nadu, another is Punjab.
Yes.
This is how they have decided and there is a note we received.
So how do Periyarist and Dravidian party fight? Because the Dravidian parties mostly have collaborated or compromised.
You see,
Few of them is there.
their modus operandi is, they want to catch hold of some of the people who have got the weakness,
Okay.
like the marginalized people, like the backward class people, who expect anything. Muscle power, one thing, money power, all these things, media power,
ED, CBI.
all these things. But yet we are very conscious and we know how to beat them, how to defeat them. It is not an easy job for them to Tamil Nadu because they may have muscle power, they may have money power, they may have media power, they may have corporate power, but we have mind power. And the Periyar has prepared the soil very long time back. See now, they adopt your own modus operandi. See, language they cannot, in culture they cannot intrude and all this. You might have heard, there was one myth that one god in Kanjipuram, Attivaradam has gone and they have put it inside the river and after 40 years every time they will take it. So, purposely and intentionally they have just asked, and media was also. Media gave wide publicity. Oh, lakhs and lakhs of people, they are visiting, they want to create the favor from get the grace of that Attivaradam. Attivaradam is the standing posture. Attivaradam is, it is all from Buddhas only.
Yes.
We know that. You know, if you go to country like Thailand, Myanmar, Buddha is lying, they are standing out. And the same thing, even when I have seen some of the small statues, like lying Buddha, small. The same must have been the inspiration. They have converted it in Attivaradam and all these things. But they have got crowd. The RSS paper here writes, just why I am quoting this one. Oh, these atheist people, these DK people, Periyarists, they don't like because they are barking out, there is no God, this and that. But these people are amassing, crowd after crowd, crores and crores of people, thousands of people. They are amazing, they are paying salutations, they are worshipping God. The next line he writes, all these things are there, but it is not being converted into votes in Tamil Nadu. That we don't understand, he writes. That is very important.
That's right. It is very important area. I was in the morning, I was just thinking one thing, this...
You need not get discouraged on that account.
No,
you know, believing God is a ritual.
Yes.
See, I used to tell another example to answer this question. Tamil Nadu is a taskmark, liquor sale is being done by the government. Now for the Deepavali season and all these things, they have put a ceiling. 400 and odd crores for within 2 or 3 days.
400 crore.
See, that doesn't mean that we will have to lose our belief and all these things. Of course, the drunkards go there. Yes. That is like this, is an opiation. Yes. This God, bhakti, devotion, nothing but opiation for various. Another is picnic areas. Like a picnic spot, they go there. All kinds of bunkum, they are creating it. But at the same time, the same people here, they know. But for this movement, my son would not have got this government job. But for this Periyar, we would not have entered the educational portals. This kind of feeling is there. And when we explain, you look here, NEET is there, other things, they want to intrude through the educational schemes, they are very careful. They are not supporting BJP. And even those who support BJP for political alignment, they are very careful. But still, we will have to go a long way.
Actually, you see, the Hindutva's All India project is to exploit the caste contradictions.
Yes.
And that they have been able to penetrate among the backward communities in North India particularly, among many Dalit communities, apart from keeping their upper caste dominance and communities with them. So this is a very risky...
what Amit Shah and Modi are doing as a social engineering in UP and other kind of northern states, that the play cannot be played here. They want to try. But that experiment will not succeed here, because entirely the soil is very different.
In Karnataka, they have succeeded, probably in Telangana, that's the next target. And you say that as Kerala and Tamil Nadu and Punjab will be difficult. Kerala,
they are not able to land that. Yes, because Kerala, the leftists and the Congress people both in their own way, even though they are opposing each other for political reasons, they cannot land easily. Tamil Nadu also. So also, naturally, people are fed up with that. You see, we need not lose our hope. Of course, through hook or crook, through various methods, foul means or fair, they don't believe in fair means. Recently, today also, I issued a statement. This I have written about the Vijayadashami day. I have seen from organizer and from Vijay Bharatam is the Tamil edition of the RSS paper. And the organizer, you know that is in English RSS paper. Now, Mohan Bhavat, he has invited Shivanadar. That Shivanadar is a backward community man. That community was not at all allowed, that community people were not at all allowed human rights at all. Education, this and that, even to walk on the streets. Periyar's Vaikam movement, Kerala was only for that.
That was what I was asking him. That is Vaikam movement and Periyar's struggle should be publicized highly.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree with you. That is why we have planned to tour the northern Indian states, number one. And we are going to start a Hindi website also.
Oh, that will be good.
Yeah, because whatever statement that we issue about all these things,
it must
go.
Very good effort.
And all these things, e-books and all these things. So we have planned it. So once we reach it, how we are able to impress upon the Mandal Commission? Even the Mandal published report, what happened to the Kaka Kalalkar Commission of the first backward classes did not, he was apprehending. The fate that embraced Kaka Kalalkar Committee, which never see the light of the Parliament, it was not at all placed on the floor of the House. But same should not happen to my report. You must see that, you must guard. All that was an open statement issued by our Mandal. And the Mandal, you know, our judge, he was also one of the Ambedkar's close friend. He was also one of the Mandal Commission member from Maharashtra. 4 members, one is Subramaniam, another is Mandal, L.R. Nayak, and another Varashian. But he was very close. He was looking after our People's Education Society. He gave reception to Periyar when we had been to Maharashtra. So he identified me and we gave a reception here, same thing. So what happened, you know, we convened 46 conferences throughout India. And we had a continuous picketing and all these things before Indira Gandhi's house to place it on the Parliament and to implement it. Even for placing it 2 years, it was submitted 80s. It was placed in the Parliament after our strenuous efforts only in 82. Like that, we will have to build up an all India movement, social movement, for which you will be very helpful to us, I hope.
I wanted to, because this important is Periyar and his ideologies are like modernism. I think if women read Periyar's work, his thoughts, even the upper caste women read, I think that will liberate.
Yeah, we will have to appeal to them because even the upper caste women, they come under the graded inequality. They also know Sudras only.
They should know that what was said in 20s and 30s, 1920s and 1930s, so many, like nearly a century ago, by the man who was so forward looking. So the one thing which perturbed me, like Tamil Nadu has 60-70 years of Dravidian government.
There are 2 priorities. One is we will have to keep the soil intact.
So these
because suppose if we entirely turn on the other side, then the politicians, we don't believe in politicians 100%. We can use the politicians, that is one thing.
I was just saying that point, my point was in 70 years, like Maharashtra government published Baba Sahib Ambedkar's work. Has the Tamil Nadu government done that?
They have not done it.
That is what I say. Why shouldn't it be done at the government level and promote it and translate the work in different languages? That should have been one of the tasks Because I went to several colleges in.
But I am happy in one respect for your information, you know. One, there is a great difference. Just like they were catching Vasanta Moon and others who are very closely associated with Baba Sahib. They put identifying proper persons for the proper job. Even Mudipara. Suppose if this happens in Tamil Nadu, entire we could not hear Periyar itself. They would have changed the word and all this. You see, the difficulty in Periyar's word, fortunately, it was in English.
Yes,
in Tamil to English or any other language. That is why we are insisting that it must be approved by Periyar Trust and all these things. Still, we are writing. Some people are misunderstanding why you are not allowing this one. Because I will tell you something. Papan is a word, meaning in Tamil. Parpan, Brahmin, Parpan. That is in Tamil literature and all these things. There is no such word as Brahmin, Brahmanan. Periyar used to tell, Parpanai Brahmanan endru alaikade. Don't call a Parpan as a Brahmanan. See, there is a difference. Once you call a particular person as Brahman, you go without saying, goes without saying that you are agreeing for Sudra, to be a Sudra.
Yes.
It goes without saying. He used to jokingly tell, he erased the word Brahmin the hotel. And oh, you are erasing that word. See, it is demeaning to us. It is a shame. It is a reflection on us. Suppose if there are 3 houses in the street. One house, this is a house of honest and not debaucherous lady. What will happen to other people, other 2 houses? Those houses, malpractices are going on there. Like that, if you call yourself Brahmin, then automatically you are pointing out myself and other 2 people are lowest of the low. That is why all these things. So, the word everywhere, Brahmin, this and that, God, they will interpolate. Even Gita is nothing but interpolation. That is why we want to authorize, and fortunately, we have got tapes, we have got recorded speeches in paper, reported. These kind of facilities are not available to other leaders. So we are holding it and but we must officially, that is why we have created a university, you know, Periyar Mani University at Tanjavur. There is a Periyar Center for Periyar Thought. In the Center for Periyar Thought, we have arranged the translation department, separate wing, all kinds of languages. We are searching for professors and fitting personnels. They are translating it and they are putting it. Nowadays, the other elements are also, the electronic aids are also there. So we will use it and we will do it.
I was saying that the government can do it.
I am very happy. You could also throw your suggestions. Whatever your suggestion, we will be too happy to get associated and try to implement it.
Because we wish that in 70 years in Tamil Nadu, the government is in power, whether opposition or ruling party, they should promote the idea of Periyar world over, not just in Tamil Nadu. Maharashtra government purchased one house where Dr. Ambedkar lived in United Kingdom, in London. Of course, it was after very difficulties. But I think what Tamil Nadu governments can do is at least establish something abroad also, so that people know that this man has given dignity to the color black, to the identity of the black, because that is a very important identity.
First of all, the people who are at the helm of affairs in Tamil Nadu government must be Periyarists.
Yes.
They themselves, they don't know ABCD of Periyar. So that is why if they happen to be, they will entrust that work to some Brahmins, from the upper caste people. They will infiltrate even in any project. Like Buddhism was driven out. Periyarism will also be completed. That is why we are more vigilant. Yes. And eternal vigilance is the price for our freedom, you know.
Do you think that what Periyar, when the DMK was formed and he was not very happy with it, was he not happy till his death, or was he happy?
No, actually, because Kamaraj was even though Kamaraj was from Congress, Kamaraj was a man who is for backward class, depressed and the downtrodden. That is why he was supporting it. All the Brahmins were opposing Kamaraj. So when all the Brahmins were opposing Kamaraj, Periyar supported him. It was Periyar who asked him to take up the mantle of chief ministership. He was rather hesitating to accept it. But Periyar said, look here, you just... Because Rajagopalachari was a very powerful person then. He wants to topple him. He wants to capitalize black guy and all these things, black grow, and he will have to do all these things. Because Kamaraj was the political opponent for Rajagopalachari. So all these things, this happened. And afterwards, when they themselves, they want to have some political power. When they won the election, they went to Periyar and Periyar supported him. So afterwards, the DMK and the DK has become the double barrel gun. Okay. So actually, to some extent, any politician, you know, they will have to get the votes. Getting votes is also from the votes from the gullible masses also.
Yeah, the other people.
So on the other hand, they will have to compromise. If we go to elections, even Dravida Kazhagam, the same thing will happen to him. That is why Periyar was said, so we are not contesting election. We are not compromising with our principles. At least let them do something. So in between, we will have to find a way out.
But because
and slowly but steadily we will have to achieve what all we have done.
But whatever has happened in Tamil Nadu, at least in the first few decades, the Dravidian governments have contributed a lot and they were influenced by Periyar's ideology. Yeah. Today they might not be, as you said, that they may not know.
Yeah.
But at least from Annadurai to Karunanidhi, they were well aware of Periyar's work and colleagues. Do you think that today what we are witnessing now in the Dravidian parties is what proved Periyar correct? That power corrupts people, power make compromise things and ideology.
100% correct. You see, that is why Periyar, we are here not only to extract work from them, but also correct them when and where. Otherwise, they will completely dilute this one. Dilute this one. Just like you take, no other example is needed, only Buddha and Buddhism. First, three words. Discerning Buddha is a book written by one Professor Joshi from Columbia University. He has very rightly pointed out how Buddhism was ostracized, exiled from India. First, they opposed. Opposition was not taken into consideration by the people. The large masses joined together, that is the way. And Asoka's period was the golden period in history, as rightly pointed out by Baba Sahib. But later on, they want to appreciate. There is the danger. Periyar used to tell.
Appropriate.
Then appreciate, appropriate, annihilate. Yes. That's all.
Appreciate,
3 words.
appropriate and annihilate. This is the true, that is the quality of branding.
Appreciate.
Appreciate, appropriate and annihilate.
Annihilate, that's all, finished.
Brahmanism is basically in nutshell.
That is the 3 years.
Oh, that's very, very important. One thing recently came.
That is why, for your information, political parties, the Dravidian political parties, they admit Brahmins. We never admit Brahmins in our organization. They say, no, I am a reformed Brahmin. Yes, I welcome, I appreciate it. You reformed it, you do it in your own way. Why should you want to join in here? Because it is very difficult. I may be looking with a lurking doubt.
If you have gone out of Brahminism, then you are not a Brahmin.
Yeah.
If somebody says, I am a Brahmin, I am reformed. When you are
Once you say that I am a Brahmin, that itself very clearly says that you are not out of it.
So if you are reformed, then you are not a Brahmin.
I am a human being, yes. I converted to a human being, then I want to be with you, all these things. That they never say. So sir, I am a Brahmin, very cosmopolitan club. Another thing I would like to point out to you. Everywhere, Baba Sahib and Periyar are both sides the same coin. Let me tell you one thing, one more example. Heterodox Brahmin, what about the heterodox Brahmin? Heterodox Brahmin is cosmopolitan Brahmin. Who will take mutton, he will eat non-vegetarian, he will take drinks and all these things, liquor, all these things. He will be very sociable, he will remove his holy thread and all these things. So, Periyar's opinion and Ambedkar's opinion are the same, very identical on this problem. You can believe an orthodox Brahmin, but not an heterodox Brahmin. Why? The answer was, we know what are in the hands of the orthodox Brahmin, because his weapons are visible. But the weapons he is having, the heterodox Brahmin, the so-called cosmopolitan Brahmin, it is not visible at all. That is so much more dangerous. These are the views.
Yeah, because the Orthodox Brahmins are coming to the ideal.
Yeah. Ultimately, you see, they infiltrate anything. You take the Congress,
yes,
about the Savarkar problem recently. Congress party stands one thing. When there is another Brahmin guy who happens to be the spokesperson of the Congress, who enjoys the power, goes to the Rajya Sabha, and he is a leading lawyer in the Supreme Court. No, Savarkar is a good person. That is my personal. How could we have the personal opinion when he expresses in the public?
Recently, we had this Home Minister saying that Hindi should be the national language, language of unity. And there was like, most of the states have just not spoken much. Only protest came from Tamil Nadu. And many people in North India feel that Periyar was anti-Hindi and whatever. What were the views of Periyar on language? Because you have written a book on that.
Actually, the same question. You know, Sitaram Kesari, who hailed from Bihar, is a backward community man. He was the president of the Congress before Sonia Gandhi. He was a treasurer from Nehru times onwards, continuously. He was a great Periyarist, nobody knows it. He used to, later part of his life, I gave many English book he used to read. And he used to ask many doubts about Periyar after reading it. He will never care for time. Night 12 o'clock, he will be reading. Suppose you have got a doubt, he will give me a ring for that night 12 o'clock. No, Veeramani ji, what happened? How this you must clarify. That is why I want to get it clarified. I was too happy to get say one question he asked. See, Periyar is a rationalist and a humanist. What was the reason for Periyar's opposing Hindi? As a rationalist, he would not have happened for a particular language. There must be a deeper reason for that. As a disciple, close disciple, ardent disciple, you will be knowing it. I said, look here, Kesari ji, if you take the constitution, the answer will be found. Official language, under the caption of official language, they put Hindi shall be the official language. Then the word after Hindi, one in Devanagari script. I don't know whether you have seen Devanagari. What is the Devanagari? Deva Bhasha.
Yes, Deva.
Sanskrit is the Deva Bhasha.
And Hindi Devanagari.
And this is Devanagari, Deva Bhasha. What is the alternative for a Deva Bhasha is Nicha Bhasha.
Oh.
Tamil, even though Sanskrit and Tamil, they both happen to be the classical languages. Semmoli in Tamil we used to call. Classical language. Now government has also recognized it, both of them as classical language. Among the two classical language, how one which is not at all spoken,
Yes.
which is not at all in vogue, and it is more or less declared to be the dead language.
The dead language.
Another one which is spoken throughout the world, in many countries, have largest population, have got the hoariest parts of the literature and all these things, they are having it. But all these things, Nicha Bhasha. And if a particular upper caste people, they have taken bath and ready for worshipping their God inside their house, he won't talk in Tamil. Even though he lives in Tamil Nadu, Tamil, because it is a pollution.
Tamil language.
They will answer only in Sanskrit. Because it is Nicha Bhasha. Tamil is a Nicha Bhasha, Sanskrit is a Deva Bhasha.
But is it...
Gods, the language of the gods.
Is this term used here in Tamil Nadu?
No, everywhere. It is in Yoga, it is in there.
For Tamil
Milecha, Deva Bhasha, and Mandarma, period of Mandarma, all these things.
So
the imposition of Hindi is not a question of imposing or asking another language to be studied. It is an imposition of a culture against Tamil culture. Culture. This culture is entirely different, diametrically opposed to that culture. This culture is for equality. That culture, Sanskrit culture, is for inequality. This is for humanism. That is for dehumanism.
So Tamil was not the language of the Tamil Brahmins?
Huh? No, they will ask, they won't say, if they happen to be what is your mother tongue, they will say Sanskrit only. In all even in Tamil Nadu, even still, but for this moment, all the important functions like marriage, by Shraddha, by other things, only Sanskrit mantras are only pronounced. Why the Purohit was invited?
Okay.
No Tamil language is used. The name of the children is not in Tamil. The name of the places are completely Sanskritized from Tamil later on. So, there was a cultural conquest. So, when we oppose Hindi, we are not opposed to Hindi as a language.
Yes.
We are not opposed to Hindi people. There are backward class brethren. There are scheduled caste brethren. There are people, broken people.
Yes.
They are on the verge of all these things. They are our brothers.
And they are Tamil
Just like laborers of all countries unite,
yes,
and the depressed and the downtrodden unites. Baba Saheb has used the very right word in his book, what Congress and Gandhi have done to that. That is called, he has used that word, surveilled classes. That is the right word. We both backward, scheduled, and all these primitive people, all these people.
So this is a very important point because North Indian, the message went,
Yeah.
Periyar
You
is
see,
Hindi.
when we go to Delhi, when we arrange Periyar Center at Delhi, we put in Hindi also.
Yes.
Because, see, it is your mother tongue.
Yes.
I recognize you as a mother tongue.
Yes.
But on the account, you cannot, there must be unity in diversity.
Yes.
Now they don't want to recognize that if many in the country, RSS principle is one language, one religion, one culture, one government. So one language, which is one Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. They don't even want Hindi.
So more than a language, it is an imposition of culture that entirely destroyed the very fabric.
We fight, you are saying, Ambedkarite.
And another thing I would like to add one more thing. Hindi, why they have put the Devanagari script? No, there was a tussle between Urdu, Hindi, that is called Hindustani.
Hindustani, yeah.
That was supported by Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah, that was
Gandhi supported that one. So, they not only grabbed Tamilian, all these things and called the Nicha Bhasha, but also they cut the Urdu people because they are spoken by the Muslim people, minorities, against the minorities. So, this is an imposition. So, there is a lot of things behind this one.
So, when we are saying we have to fight because these are very difficult times, and you say that Ambedkarite and Periyarist should join hands.
Yeah.
And you say there are these people with same ideology. There may be some slight differences. Should we also tell people, because before we start a togetherness movement, there were people in Tamil Nadu from many circles who tried to pitch Ambedkar against Periyar and Periyar as Ambedkar. So this is important to tell people about the differences. Where were the differences?
Yeah. Actually, when Periyar went to Kanpur, his speech was translated only in Hindi.
By Larai Singh Yadav.
And you know, when Ramraj Paswan come here, he spoke here for 1.5 years in Hindi.
1.5 hours.
Oh, sorry, 1.5 hours, sorry, I get corrected. And people were writing. For first time in Tamil Nadu, 1.5 hours Hindi speech was tolerated. And this. Whereas when Lokayat came here, Lokayat was dubbed as the Hindi fanatic and all these things. It was not so, actually. Because Lokayat's projection was given by the media like that only.
Yeah.
Lokayat as a socialist, Lokayat as an eradicator of caste, Lokayat as a portion who stood for social justice.
Yes.
That was not given in Tamil Nadu.
Hindi fanatic.
Later on only, that was understood. So, if your mother tongue happened to be Hindi, I recognize you are right. But on the other hand, there is no vilacha. Why should you call us Nishan Deva?
Yeah.
You are neither a Deva, neither myself as a Nisha.
That is very.
It is a question of equality and inequality. So this is a cultural effrontery.
I was just okay.
Yeah.
The one part of this. I was just what bring Periyar, Ambedkar, even Nehru kind of people, Loya, Bhagat Singh, Gandhi, all of them. One thing commonality I found was their love for intellectualism. They were, in their senses, intellectuals. Maybe have differences, but they were intellectual. They were deeply committed to social justice, socialism, and they were like communicating with people through publications, through magazines. All these are legends. What has happened? Like Periyar understood this very well, that they have to communicate with people, and I think that is one of the reasons the success of the Dravidian movement. In the North India, the parties of the Shudras, OBCs particularly, what to call, they have not learned this because we don't have. They think that politics is not for intellectuals, and there is a contempt for intellectuals by the politicians. Only RSS can have a respect for intellectuals because they are keeping all this. Their own intellectuals. So-called intellectual. They are devotees as intellectual. But why not all these Bahujan Dravidian parties respect intellectuals and promote this idea?
We have not. See, Ambedkar used one word in why we are untouchables and how they are untouchables. Regarding when he started about that intellectualism. No community in the world has prostituted its intelligence in such a bad manner like the Brahmin community. These are the words that are used by Baba Sahib. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, intellectualism should not be, he has used a very strong word. Prostituted is intelligence. So now they are ready. See, let me tell, I don't want to name a particular persons. There is a group of intellectuals, they now here. I am ready, how you will win the election? You come to me. The same party goes to a ruling party and the opposition party. He auctions, you give 30 crores, you give 25 crores. How to win? We will say. How to earlier, a long time back when I was a student, I had the opportunity of going through Dale Carnegie book, How to Influence and Influence People, that has learned so many editions. Followed nothing. But whereas here, they are the intellectual, and that kind of, by intellectual, we don't mean that kind of intellectual. These people, if at all, any person, he must be, his intelligence must be to reform the society. Because Periyar believed education should be an instrument of social change. What is your role? And here, North India and South India, here there is one difference. Periyar's movement has created an institution called public platform. Everywhere we used to convene public meeting. That is in Kerala also. But whereas in North India, on issues you never think, only during election times. Otherwise, there will be a small intellectual group within the halls, that's all.
Yes.
Here that is not the case. Almost all the political parties, everywhere. If there is a new education scheme, if there is need, we go to the people. We used to convene a public meeting. So people will come, people without anything, they will hear. So this sort of public education, public must be educated first. So educate, that is more important. How to educate? Only through means. And almost Periyar believed in public meeting, he told very widely, because people didn't know by that time, when he started the movement, the 3 hours, only 7% was literates. So if you print books, he won't be able to read books.
Yes.
But whereas hearing is believing. So seeing is believing. So he told the entire country. So also now that changed all these things. But anyhow, it is high time, as you said, we will have to see that almost all the people of like-minded people must be get together. And they must be united. And unfortunately, one difference here, why the progressive forces are not joining together, knowing full well that there is fire, that there is a dangerous thing is coming, and it will be eaten by completely by these forces. They know that, but still they don't want to join, align together, because they are after political offices. There must be some kind of parallel organization in North India like Dravida Kazhagam. Dravida Kazhagam cadres are very committed. They don't go for legislature contest elections.
I think that is very.
Why Tamil Nadu was a recent election, even Modi was able to muster so much. Tamil Nadu stood alone, very unique, by catching 39 seats in parliament. How it was possible? Because the Dravida Kazhagam as a non-political party was a binding force. So we used to run here. And whenever there is a problem, then we will go there. They will be asked, we will set right the whole thing. And because we don't have access to grind, that here and there, we will be the person who goes there and set right the whole thing. Like that, there must be some people who must be above the position. But there, only Anna Hazares are coming and they are disappearing.
They are very dangerous people.
The media is giving very widely.
So,
and if even the media is controlled by upper caste people, you know very well.
yes. Marwadi media.
Suppose you and I, if you spoke, they won't do a
Monastery media. Monastery media.
Yeah.
So before we leave, I want three questions, which is very important for many people internationally and nationally, whoever listen to this. One is the self-respect marriages that Periyar started.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it happening even today? Or why Periyar started? What was the reason?
Self-respect marriage, one is cultural, to avoid the cultural conquest. See, the Justice Party, the earlier non-Brahmin party who got the power in 1920 to 26. Later on it waned, it was defeated. Because they opposed Brahmins politically. They never opposed culturally. This is what our Periya Pandian has written it very nicely, that it must be an all-round this thing. Now there must be an agency. See, he wants to say, individually, if I happen to be a Brahmin, you and I, you are not, we are contesting, then you won't support me and all this. But if there is another thing, then due to your selfishness or my selfishness, I will never allow that one. So, what is the root for the Brahmin? So go to the root.
Yes.
So culturally, that was self-respect marriage. Self-respect marriage for equality. Self-respect for secularism. Anybody could perform. All these things. So cultural conquest must be defeated. Anybody could be. And more or less in Hindutva, it is a sacrament.
Yes.
Once you get into it, you cannot come out of it. Whereas self-respect, it is nothing but a contract. Just like friends, that's all. No tying of tali, no ritual, nothing doing.
I read, but it was important for the people.
So, and also it is a very frugal one. Frugal ones. Why people are now lavishly they are spending. So, just you say here, come here and
very simple.
You just go and see our self-respect marriage bureau. Everywhere they perform it, they come here. They go there.
And it has also broken the myth of caste, or it
caste also. See, the tying tali, they put in the caste symbol.
But Tamil Nadu still has
a lot of... that is why Periyar was right in equality, fraternity, and also ritual, superstition abolition, and caste abolition. All these things are there in the self-respect.
So that's a very good statement. Though there are a lot of honored killings.
And everywhere it is all over world. Malaysia, Dravida Kazhagam is there. Not as a branches, but as a friendly colleagues. There, the Dravida Kazhagamites are given the power of to the registrars. They themselves can go and register the marriages in their book.
Basically,
the government has allowed him, government has authorized him.
They have become like humanist marriages.
Humanist marriage, that's
marriages without God, without God. The other question was about Periyar's, at the end, fag end of his life, marrying to Maniam.
Marry?
His marriage, related to his marriage, when he his marriage to Mani.
Oh!
So that question has been
still it is angering somebody.
Even Periyar's own, they defame.
The word marriage is used only for legal purpose.
Legal purpose. That he has written.
Maniammai is the secretary, was an ardent social worker, Periyarist. She doesn't want to marry, she doesn't want to get a wedded life. So he left his house and he wants to serve Periyar. He was secretary from 1944. Periyar's father was a very rich guy. So he has left a long estate. And Periyar wanted that income afterwards to this movement. And another thing is Periyar also, very frugal person. He is not a lavish person. Periyar himself has got a large man of wealth. So the donations, the affection presentations, like all these things, every now and then, every birthdays they used to give. So Periyar wanted to preserve and make it as a trust. So he wants to have a trusted person to carry on the message and the mission even after him. That is why he made this arrangement. This is only an arrangement to look after that. Because not for this matrimonial purpose or sexual purpose, because that age has already passed.
Yes.
And for that purpose, and this was the clear thing. In that 1949, when he consulted even lawyers, lawyers said, see, you cannot adopt a lady as your daughter. That was Hindu law.
Okay.
But whereas if you marry her registered making as a wife, then automatically your property will come. And Periyar is 100% materialist.
Yes.
He never bothers whether it is this name or name doesn't count.
But it disturbed many of his followers? Or
No, exactly. It doesn't disturb.
Colleagues.
These people, Anadarai and the other people, all these his disciples, they were even earlier, they had their own differences of opinion regarding the leadership.
Not regarding that.
And they wanted to have, the problem is, the main problem is, they wanted to go to politics.
Yes.
Periyar never allowed it.
So that might
They were waiting for an opportunity. They utilized this one. This was an hard,
This is
bad.
a very, very important part because
Later on, they themselves agreed. Only for that purpose, we have segregated from Periyar, we quit the Periyar. They themselves confessed.
Once I was traveling in train from Chennai and there was a woman who came and she happened to be a Tamil woman. And she spoke to me, where did you go, where did you visit? I told I visited Periya Thidal. And this woman was so upset. Oh, this man who married to a young woman. And this, I said, do you know about Periyar? I said, all these people are castes and all this thing. So I realized that she was a Tamil Brahmin woman who was very upset with Periyar's movement. And what I am saying is how they have taken this issue everywhere to save their mischiefs. And that is why I wanted to clarify.
And finish this one. I have given the explanation.
Yeah.
Let me ask one thing apart from this one. If even assuming, is it not Bertrand Russell, 94 years, married Edith Finch? See, it's a question of personal friendship.
Nobody discussed that.
And you know what is platonic marriage? What is the arrangement? Why should he say, if at all it must be a concern between two individuals?
I agree, sir.
If you philosophically, let us approach that problem philosophically. You and I have no right to question that.
Yes, we have no right to question. We have no right
If at all, who is an aggrieved person? Only Baniyamma is an aggrieved person. If she comes, me too. I must be a latest member of the Me Too. Then you take up the case. That's all. You have no business to interfere and intrude in their affair.
Yes.
See, anyway, so many other things also.
This is very, very important.
You see,
that you mentioned.
Saraswati, who is Saraswati according to Puranic story? Who is Saraswati? Saraswati is the daughter of Brahma.
Ji.
And Brahma married Saraswati only. How these people are competent to raise this question?
They do it.
They want to divert the question. They want to malign, they want to character assassinate.
This is the point that you...
So it is a meaningless.
And last point which I want before you leave, please, is about, I search a lot about vacuum. Even in this book, history book, I try to find out from internet, from various...
I suppose you have cleared from your mind.
No, I'm clear. I didn't ask this question from...
I know. You ask any question because you are just...
Sir, I have tremendous respect for Periyar. And I know he was much more and far superior than any other contemporary...
in Caravan, long time back, Caravan is a progressive magazine.
Yes.
Delhi.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Alive or something, they have changed it.
No, it is coming.
There, they have given misinformation. Maniyamma was a Brahmin lady.
This kind of... This is
See, these people are doing it purposely. Recently I had some fellow, Brahmin fellow, he goes, no, that fellow Periyar, that fellow Annadurai. See, Annadurai wanted to marry her and Periyar has married her. What is this nonsense? How kind of all these bunkums, they are fabrics?
You have put this question very nicely, that nobody has a right to say anything about that.
Yeah.
But
Philosophically, if you answer philosophically,
I agree with
factually is one thing, philosophically is another.
Because they were public people, and in India there is nothing called privacy. Particularly for the public, those who devoted their lives and people.
If N.T. Ramarao Garu wants some other lady, that both of them got married.
So I was
Chandrababu Naidu has no grouse at all. Why should you?
I was just saying about the vacuum movement.
Yeah.
There is no mention of Periyar in most of the work that I try to find out.
Where?
On the vacuum, the entire struggle, the satyagraha in vacuum. Vaikam.
Who told?
No, I try to search on internet.
No, that the internet is given only by those interested people. You know, you take T K Ravindra, there is everywhere, even recently also.
Right, I have done some of
and
things.
So many other things, deliberately, see, and once again I go to Ambedkar. In that he said, a beautiful word he has coined, a sentence. That will be my answer. The conspiracy of silence. They will kill it with the conspiracy of silence. That is the beautiful words he has used.
So
they don't want to know. Periyar didn't participate. This is how they are now turning the history.
No, not participate. They put it very dilute. They dilute.
Purposely. They want to give the credit to Gandhi.
Yes, that is what. So the whole movement is about Gandhi. Even when I was in Trivandrum a few years back, last year, wanted to see that place.
You know Periya Thidal, you have come to us. And most of the journalists, they never come to us. They used to write, sir, they don't want to give publicity. They will give for political counterparts, but not to the social people. Because they know that they are anti-Brahmin, they are this one, that, all these things. They will give only misinformation or disinformation, that's all. They won't give the right information.
But this is the right information. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I hope that our friends who watch this
very happy.
Conversation will get a lot of information. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Whenever you feel you are most welcome.
Friends, we have a very special guest today for our conversation in Lokayat. We are speaking to Dr. K Veeramani, an eminent Periyarist, founder of the Dravidian movement in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Veeramani has been conferred with an International Humanist Award in America, and he has written numerous books, spread Periyar's philosophy and ideology all over the world. We would like in this conversation a lot of things about Periyar, his work, his ideology, about the Dravidian movements, which are important. As these conversations are part of historical part of our work, which we want people to preserve the oral history of various movements that have not been historically documented by the elite classes in India. Hopefully, this conversation with Dr. K Veeramani have given a lot of insights about Periyar, his movement, and his views on women, his views on caste, about black identity, and we hope that people all over the world will understand the important work of Periyar, which is not gone outside Tamil Nadu that much, and it is now important for people of various movements world over, particularly those fighting against caste system, against the hierarchical system, on racism, that they should also try and understand Periyar's work. We hope that this conversation will give you enough insight about the great man who changed the social and political and cultural sphere of the state of Tamil Nadu. Thank you very much.